Hey guys, thank you for tuning into another video here. I just wanted to introduce another form of investing in Bitcoin to you guys. Just to throw it out there, this is by no means going to be an exhaustive analysis report of this security, but it's just meant to kind of introduce you to different things that are out there that track sort of the Bitcoin market. And so this is a stock. It has the ticker GBTC, and it's basically a Bitcoin investment. It's basically a Bitcoin investment trust. So I'm going to give you some pros and cons just about this security to just throw it out there, see if you guys might be interested in this. So basically, this is a fund. I'll just go to the web page here. That it's run by, I guess, this company called Grayscale, and they have a certain amount of Bitcoins that they're holding. And so I did a calculation here, and it looks like the company owns, or this investment trust owns, 173,594 Bitcoins. And so, because they issue shares, there's about 1.8 million shares. So that means each share is worth about 0.92 Bitcoin right now. And so, back on their webpage here, the amount right here they list as 0.092889534 Bitcoin per share. So for every share that you buy of this company, you're basically buying, 0.92 Bitcoins. So if I go over here to a Google page, I'm just going to put Bitcoin price. So if I put in 0.092, right now for the dollar equivalent of that is about $227. So you would think that, one share of GBTC should be worth, maybe $227. So according to the last trade, though, this is trading at $438 a share. So there's clearly a really high premium to this fund, and so that's something to be concerned about, to take note of. So it's basically, if 0.9228 is like $227 and the stock is trading at $438, I mean, you're paying almost, over a 50% premium to access this fund. And so that's definitely one of the cons about it. And it may be that premium will correct over time. Maybe in the future it might just be that it's hot right now, but maybe in the future that might be a 10% premium, or 15 or something. So maybe that's saying this might come down in the future to meet that kind of level. Or maybe that's just what this stock is going to be, that people are looking to move kind of Wall Street money into Bitcoin and don't want to mess with exchanges or limits or whatever, and so they're just buying this, and that's sort of gonna retain itself as the norm, or even go higher, maybe during I don't know, more kind of volatility moments. So the other thing about this stock is that it trades only during the stock market hours. There's actually not even a pre-market or aftermarket sale of this. It's just stock market hours. So Bitcoin trades around the clock, so there could be movements after hours, maybe in the early morning or the late night, that because you don't have access to this fund, you're just going to be, kind of at the mercy of the market. And so it may open the next day and sort of gap up. In this case, we saw one close here at 290, and then it jumps up at 314. Or let me see if I can find a case where we gap down. Yeah, it doesn't look like that many cases And most of the time it sort of opens where it closed. But just be aware of that. You know, if Bitcoin makes a huge move to the downside, and you know you were in this the previous day at 438, then you could definitely wake up the next day and this is, you know, opening at 400 or something. So so there's nothing you can do about that. You're just kind of that's just one of the things about this way of doing it. So I did summarize the pros and cons in this little sheet here. So I'll just kind of go through this just to list them off a little bit kind of quicker, make sure I remember everything. But one of the pros I put, you know, is that you can use a stock account to purchase this. So the normal way to buy a you know, Bitcoin is to sign up for an exchange, kind of make an account. I happen to use Coinbase, but there are other ones, and you know that exchange is going to charge a fee. And so once you have your account, you know you kind of register a credit card or bank account, and then you make a purchase at a certain time, but that's going to be maybe $2 or $3 more for low amounts, maybe under $100. I think my fees are only like $2 or $3, and so it also produces a limit. Like I think currently I can only spend $500 at Coinbase per week. And so, you know, if I wanted to move, say, $2,000 into Bitcoin, I couldn't do it right now, or I would have to do it, you know, over weeks. And so one of the pros of this is, you know, you can use a stock account that is already funded with, you know, money in the market and just buy this security, GBTC. And then that sort of leads to the second one. You know, there's no real limit on purchases like at an exchange. So I see that as a big pro. And, you know, that could be a way that you can access just without going through an exchange. The other point I came up with was, yeah, exactly that. That sort of leads us to this next line of, you know, you have access to Bitcoin without having to go through that exchange. So then the other thing is you don't need to store Bitcoins, risk having them hacked or lost. So one of the things I've been reading about a lot is, you know, the potential to have your Bitcoins hacked, or if you happen to keep them in say a hardware wallet, you might forget the password to that, or maybe your computer's hard drive crashes, you know, and there are Bitcoins that stored on there. And so there's some ways to get that back. You can recover things like that, or if you've made a backup, you know, you could still have access to your coins. But it is something to think about just in buying Bitcoin and these cryptocurrencies that basically exist on a computer or on the internet, you know, that there is the possibility of having them hacked or lost. And so if you're buying this fund, yeah, you're sort of subject to the fund, you know, protecting its coins. And if the fund gets hacked or something, then that could be really bad. But at least you're not having to deal with it yourself. And so that could provide a, you know, a positive aspect for people just to have, you know, buy one thing on the stock market and then, you know, have them kind of keep track of your coins in that sense. Okay, so let's get to a few of the cons. So, like I mentioned before, this trades only during the stock market hours. So if Bitcoin makes a move after hours, it's going to kind of take you with it when the market opens. And it's kind of interesting because if, let's say Bitcoin was at $2,000 one day, and then the GBTC price was maybe $400 or something like that, and then Bitcoin sells off overnight, and so maybe it's $1,800 in the Bitcoin market, but then right before the open it starts, you know, pulling back up again, and maybe it's on a tear and it rises up to like 1,900, so it's maybe gained $100 right before the opening. I'm kind of wondering, like, what would GBTC do, you know, because it's down from the price it set the day before, but it's in this kind of big uptrend surge. And so would it just kind of open where it was and kind of increase, or would it adjust to kind of recalculate some of that loss that Bitcoin had overnight. I mean, some of those, you know, the exact way it works is kind of interesting. So you just have to understand that going in. You know, it only trades at set hours. So the second thing I have here is, you know, it relies on the fund's security for storing the coins. So you don't have to do it yourself. But, you know, I put this down as a con. I mean, it could be that this becomes problematic for the fund. You know, what if there's a problem with their security? What if they get hacked? You know, so that's something to think about. And I haven't read all of the literature on the fund. I wonder if they have insurance on this or something that could sort of still give you protection if an event like that happened. I need to check into that. But the other thing I have here is it has that high premium. You know, we looked at that before. You're basically paying a 50% premium to get into Bitcoin in the market, in the stock market, I should say, in this fund. Versus just buying Bitcoin outright. So maybe it makes more sense to deal with these problems to not have to pay that premium, you know. And then the other thing here is the website lists a 2% fund manager fee. I was noticing that. So, you know, here's an annual fee. I guess that's so that they can make sure that everything is kind of filed properly, or just pay security and storage or whatever. So we do have to kind of account for that as a con, you know, because there is going to be some sort of drain on the price for that. So anyway, like I say, this is not at all to be exhaustive. It's mainly just to introduce you to this option. And so if you you know, if you're interested in GBTC, I definitely encourage you to go to this website that the Graysale Fund provides, and yeah, just read all about it before, you know, obviously before investing anything. But it definitely could be a way to, you know, get into Bitcoin without having to mess with all the kind of exchange and storage issues. So just wanted to mention that to you guys, and I think that's all I got for this video. So I will talk to you later.